Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Mark. Thanks for coming back. Today we're going to be taking another look at some of the things I've been doing to my 2021 A91 edition Toyota Supra. So a couple weeks ago I showed you guys the JB Plus installation. For those of you who don't remember, this is the JB Plus right here, and I had installed this on here, and this has adjustable boost anywhere from about 1.5 up to, I believe, 4.5 pounds of boost. So over stock, it boosts it, it just kind of spoofs it and adds boost on top of what you're already producing stock. Installed it, had a couple of issues with it, adjusted the dial, drove it a little bit more, and actually kind of enjoyed it. It was, you know, $200, really cheap, real easy installation. I mean, literally less than 30 seconds to install. You pop the hood, pull the cover off, undo one, pop it in, put the cover back on, close the hood, and you're done, good to go. But a lot of people had asked why I had gone with this and not the JB4, and I had explained a little bit, you know, easier installation, easy to take on and off, and cheap. See whether or not I wanted to go with something like this. So after everybody asking me about it and talking about it, I went ahead and got the JB4. So I installed the JB4 a little over, it was just about a week ago, installed it, and I've been running different maps, logging them, and having Terry over at Burger Tuning take a look at them, talk with me, tell me what needs to be adjusted, what I need to do. And so let's talk through what the install looks like. So let's take a look at that, and I'll talk through the different maps and what I like and dislike about each of them. Okay, so right off the bat, when you pop the hood, there is nothing that stands out that really points to there being anything done to this. The only thing that you can see is right here, there is a cable, a sheathed cable, and right here there's a small sheathed cable. Those are the only things that you can really see looking at it right now that lets you know that something different has been done. But because these really do blend in with everything else here, you don't really notice it. And so if I was just to pop the hood, I'm at a show, at a meet, people are going to think this thing is completely stock, and that's not a bad thing. Additionally, it's real easy to take on and off. Because I went with a couple of add-ons, mine's a little bit more difficult to take on and off than others. So let me talk about those. Okay, so I said I did a little bit different than just the JB4. So with the JB4, I opted to go with the Bluetooth adapter, which is important because then you can link it to your phone. You've got all the gauges on there. You can log straight from your phone. You can change maps. You can do everything right from your phone, which makes it super, super convenient. But I also knew that I wanted to run above the map 3. So once you get above map 3, it's essential that you have the electronic wastegate controller. And so that's an additional add-on. But in order to do that, the stock airbox has to come out, which means this brace has to come out, stock airbox has to come out, and then you have to get down to a connector that's down below, inside of a heat shield, a little blanket really that snaps together. So you have to open that up and connect another connector down below there. So that's the most difficult part about this. Without that, taking the JB4 on and off is really like a 2-minute job. There's 2 connectors on the engine itself, and then from the JB4 itself, inside, running through the firewall, there is a cable that connects to your OBD port. And so that's the one that a lot of people have trouble running it through. I'm going to show you guys exactly where I ran it through and talk with you about that a little bit. But for the most part, this thing's real easy to install, take apart. So if you've got to take it in for service and you don't want them knowing that you've got it on there, really, even with having the EWG sensor on there, it's a 10-minute job. 2 bolts here, pull this off, get to that, disconnect it, and you're done, essentially. So let's take a look at the connections. I'll pull the cover off here so you guys can see exactly where it connects. All right, so there is a cover right here, and it just has a little twist. It's got a lock and unlock here. So you turn it to unlock, pull it off, and right in here is where the JB4 is, and I've got it run through a hole in the firewall right down here. Now, I saw a couple of videos where people were having a lot of trouble finding that. if you go to where the brake stuff is right here, there's actually a little cutout in this this port right here. This cutout, if you look straight through it, there is a grommet, a rubber grommet right behind it. And I saw a couple people use either screwdrivers or a ratchet extension to push that through. I gave that a try. I took a long ratchet extension to push it through, and all it did was push a hole in it, but that's fine. It put a hole in there. I was able to go inside, see exactly where that came out. I didn't have to uninstall anything inside. I didn't have to take any trim panels, anything off inside. I could see where it was from laying down on the floor, and I was able to route the cable through it. No problem at all. Pushed it through and just kind of fed it, and it came right out here. I pulled it through and connected it right here to the JB4. Now I've got some foam on either side of my JB4, just so that it's sitting in here, it's not rattling against anything. I don't have it zip tied in. I've just got a couple of inches of foam on either side of it and crammed it in there so it's nice and tight and doesn't move around, and it's pretty protected in there. So I've got the one cable, I ran it underneath this shroud, and then the other one wasn't long enough to run this way, so I ran it between this split right here and then under and across the top of the engine and then down. So the two connectors that you have to do, one is right here and one is right here. So you disconnect this one, just this side of the throttle body. It's the same one that you used with the JB4, or with the JB Plus, I'm sorry, right here. And then you've got the one right here. Pretty easy to find. Just find this line and it's right here. So that's the one that you have to disconnect, reconnect. And then if you're running the EWG, that's this thin line that runs over. And like I said, you have to take off that brace, air intake, get down below. There's a plug down there, disconnect that, and that's all there is to it. So real easy. To install, and if you're going to be taking it in for service and you don't want them knowing you've got this on here, real easy to uninstall. Okay, so let's talk about the different maps that you can run with this. So you've got map 0, which is stock. So if you're going to be taking it in for service, set it to map 0, disconnect everything, and you're back to stock. Map 1 is, I believe, 2 or 4 pounds of boost over. Map 2 is, I believe, 4 pounds over, and then 4 or 5, and then map 3 is 6 pounds of boost over stock. Then you get into the ones that require a little bit more. Even map 3, you really should be running 93 octane, but once you get to map 4, you have to be running either 93 or an E30 blend is really what's recommended. And that one gives you an absolute 20-pound boost. And then map 5, which is what I'm currently on, is an absolute 22 pounds, and it's recommended for an E30 plus blend. So if I go back to 93 or 91, I'm gonna have to switch to a different map. But it's really convenient that I can just pull out my phone even while I'm driving and switch maps right then on the fly, no problem. It literally is clicking a couple of buttons on the phone and you're done. So you can actually go through them, do tests. Great thing is it's really supported well by Burger Motorsports, by Burger Tuning. So Terry is one of the main tuners there, and he really has helped out a lot. I keep sending, every time I do a different map, I send a log and he takes a look at it and makes sure that I'm good to progress a little bit further. So we started out with map 3 on 93 octane. Sent him some maps on that, or some logs on that. He reviewed them, said I was good, asked me to go up to an E30 mix. So I went to E30, did the maps, or did the logs on that map, sent him in. He said everything looked good, let's try map 4. So did a couple of logs on map 4. He said they were really clean, looked really good. I felt like it was a little bit less punchy, a little bit less snappy than it was when I was on map 3. So I talked with him about maybe going to an E50 blend or going to map 5. He said, let's go ahead and go to map 5. Let's leave it at E30 for right now. So that's where I'm at today. And I can tell you from driving around with it just this morning, I have not logged at all, but it feels pretty good. Now, I've only been able to get my 0 to 60 down to about a 3.6. I think it would do better on a track somewhere where it had some sticky surface that it could really grip, but I'm losing. I just can't keep the grip. I'm spinning the tires not only in first gear, but when it shifts to second gear, I'm losing traction there. So a lot of power, a lot of boost, but it feels really good. It's a lot of fun. And if you ever think it's not working, switch it back to map 0 and drive it for a few minutes that way, and you'll realize just what you're getting out of it. So I'm really impressed with it. I know there are a lot of people out there that are running the JB4. A lot of them gave me crap for running the JB Plus, and we're like, hey, why? Why'd you spend the money on that? Well, the best part is I paid $200 for this. I paid about $700 for the JB4 kit. I can send this one back since I've had it less than a year, and they will refund the money on this one because I bought the JB4. So if you wanted to start out with this, the JB Plus, and you just wanted something simple, if you didn't want to get into doing, running something through the firewall, connecting anything else, super quick, super easy. I mean, look at this thing. It's super small. One connector, bang, done. Easy to take on, easy to take off, no problem at all. But if you want a little bit more out of it, if you want a little bit more tuning ability, if you're going to do any mods, any bolt-ons, the JB4 is the way to go. And the great part is that they support you. You upload your logs to the website, and they take a look at them. They tell you how it's looking. They tell you if timing needs to be adjusted. There are micro tunes you can go in. You can go in and fine adjust everything. Don't recommend it if you haven't been told to do it, or if you're not really experienced with tuning, but you can go in and you make lots of fine tunes in there to really dial it in. And there are some custom tunes down. I think there's a total of 9 tunes, one of them being like a valet mode with like super low boost. You've got the stock tune, but then you've got some custom tunes down at the bottom that you can really set up and dial in. Now, I don't recommend that for the amateur, for someone who hasn't been tuning before, doesn't know what all of the different parameters are going to do and how they work together, and really how the JB4 works with being a piggyback and not an actual ECU tune. So make sure you keep that in mind. And I would, before running anything hard, I would definitely consult with the guys at Burger Tuning and see whether or not they agree with what you're doing, and just kind of bounce it off of them. Great guys. So far the support's been awesome, and I'm really impressed with what it's done. Gonna get it out, do some logs with this map 5. Kind of waiting for the temperature to come up a little bit. It's only about 45 degrees right now. I know I'm gonna have 0 traction with it like this, so we'll wait for the temperature to come up, the sun to come out, and things to improve, and we'll do that. Anyway, guys, I've got another video coming up real soon. I've ordered a couple more parts for the car. So from ZL1, I saw a couple of guys had installed the mud flaps or rock guards. Since I've got the spacers on my wheels and it bumped them out a little bit, I really don't want to be chipping up my paint behind the wheels, and so we're going to do an install on those. I've got that coming up real soon, so make sure you tune back, check in for that. If you haven't done so before, go down and hit that subscribe button. After you hit that, there will be a little bell icon. Hit that and you'll get notifications every time I upload a video. I'm going to be doing a lot of these. We're going to be doing a lot to this car, testing it out, seeing what it'll do. So stick with me, guys. It's going to be fun. I appreciate it. See you guys.